Hello, it's Christina, aka Plant-in-Crocs, and today I wanted to just talk a little bit about all of my plant supplies. And if you can feel that my energy is a bit low, it's because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to just make a little chatty video about my plant supplies. So here we are. And the stuff that I'm gonna go over is my plant cart. I have a... Hi, Yuki. Literally say hi. Yuki's saying hi. This is Yuki, my French bulldog. I think he's been in the background of my videos, but I don't think you've actually seen him, so. Hi, min lille smukke dreng. Må jeg filme min video nu? Okay, so areas that I'm going to talk about is the plant cart, and then I have this box on the bottom shelf on my plant shelf here in the living room where I have some supplies as well. Then I have the office where I have a shelf in there with some plant supplies as well. And then I have a storage box outside where I also have some supplies, and then I have the shed at the front of our house. And I have put all of my plant supplies in like the spots where they fit in the way of how often I'm using them. So for example, the plant cart is for all of the stuff that I use pretty frequently. And then I have the office shelf where I also have some stuff that I use pretty frequently, but not as frequently. That's the way I organize all of my plant stuff. So stuff that I use frequently is going to be easy for me to grab, and stuff that I don't really use is harder for me to grab, you know? So that's the way I organize my stuff, and I'm just gonna go get my plant cart and we can get this video started. Okay, so this is my plant cart. This is just a cart that I got from IKEA. I like keeping the frequently used plant supplies on this cart because it's on wheels, so I can bring it with me when I'm watering. I can bring it with me when I'm doing pest preventative things and stuff like that. Let's just go over what is on this cart. I use the top shelf to transport my plants because I have this watering routine where I use the Planta app because that's just what works best for me. I'm not the type where I have like specific watering days each week and then I walk around and water the ones that I know needs water and stuff like that. Because when I tried that out, I realized that I was really good at forgetting plants. So some of the plants just got neglected because I never watered them. And it was also easier for me to either under or overwater some of my plants because I cannot keep track of when I've watered all my different plants and also when I have fertilized all of my plants and stuff like that. So I use the Planta app. This video is not sponsored or anything. It's not an ad. It's just what I do when I water. So basically this app, you can put your plant in there. You can give it which room it's in. You can tell the app if the room has high humidity or stuff like that. And it will alter the watering routine and fertilizing routine to that specific room, if that makes sense. Every morning I check the app to see which plants need water, which plants need fertilizer. Not every watering is with fertilizer. So when it tells me a plant needs fertilizer, I put it on top of this plant cart and then I roll it out into the bathroom and I use my pest preventative spray on it, let it dry, put it back in its place, well, transport it back to its place, and then I fertilize it. So that way all of my plants are at some point gonna get some pest preventative spray. That way I can keep up with both watering, fertilizing, and pest preventing, and that is just what works really, really well for me. It might not be the best routine for everyone else or anyone else. It just works really great for me, and I feel like after I've gotten into that routine, I've become way more consistent with my plant care in general. So that's the top shelf explained, why there's nothing on the top shelf. It is just to transport plants. The next shelf here is stuff that I use pretty frequently. So I have some rope here. So I use the rope for mostly just my outdoor plants. I have a blackberry bush on a trellis that needs to be kept up with, and I use just some random rope. I also use it for hangers, actually. I've made a couple of hangers for some of the pots, and I just use this rope as well. So yeah. Then I have two different pruners. I have this chunky one, very handy, very sturdy, very nice. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about it other than that. And then I have this smaller pruner, which is just to, usually I just use it to prune some leaves off or cut off some browning on variegated leaves or stuff like that. So yeah, very handy to have one of each. Then I have this little, I think it's supposed to be a penguin, but I have this penguin box cutter that I use for boxes, I guess. Yeah. Usually it's for plant supplies. Then I have this roll of plant Velcro tape, but it's just Velcro tape to bind some of the plants on moss poles or stakes. I don't really use it for anything other than that. And then I have two watering cans. So I water in place and I use a watering can for that. So I have this white one for plain water, and then I have this black one for fertilizing. So this is the watering can that I mix my fertilizer in with water, and then I walk around and fertilize after pest preventing. And then the fertilizer that I'm using is from Botanica, and I use their liquid fertilizers. So I have the Cacti Bio fertilizer. It says on the back how much you need. So it's 1 pump for 1 liter of water. And that is also why I like my watering cans, because they are exactly 1 liter. So obviously the cacti one I use for my cacti and succulents. And then I have this premium tropical bio one for all of my other plants. And it says on the back that it's 1 pump for half a liter. So obviously I use 2 pumps for 1 liter. So I like that as well. It's very easy. And I've tried some different kinds of fertilizers over the years. Mostly it's just been like cheap supermarket plant fertilizers that I've found. But after I switched to this one, my plants have just taken off. Like, I can definitely see a huge difference. So I think I'm just gonna keep using these. Okay, moving to the bottom shelf. I have a lot of different bottles and sprayers. So this is plant-in-crocs 3%. I do not remember exactly what it's translated into. So I'm gonna put that on the screen. And then I have this spray bottle where I have diluted the plant-in-crocs with water. I don't remember the ratio exactly. It's been a very long time since I've used this. And I used this when I had mealybugs on one of my plants. It was a plant that was hanging in my bathroom window, so the mealies did not get to any of my other plants, which I'm very grateful for. But I used this spray on it and it worked great. I killed the plant with underwatering at some other point, so yeah. So that spray worked for the mealies, but not my underwatering. Then I have have this Provento spray, and it's just a spray also for mealybugs and scales, I think. I used to use this as a preventative spray because after having mealybugs once, I was very scared of getting them again. So I used this as a preventative spray, but I felt like it was too harsh on the plants as a preventative spray, so I don't really use this anymore. Then I have this. This is just neem oil. I never used this because I hate neem oil. This was a bottle that I bought like at the beginning of my plant care, but I have not used this in years. And the reason for that is I kind of use this as a preventative spray. I feel like today I would never use neem oil for preventative stuff. I don't really feel like it works. And the worst part is it smells so bad. Yeah, I don't know why I keep this spray. I just have it on my plant cart because there's room for it, but I don't think I'm ever gonna use it again. Then my most used thing on this shelf is what I use for pest preventing. And this is the SB Plant Invigorator and Bug Killer. So this is for controlling whitefly, aphids, spider mites, mealybugs, scale, and mildew. And it's non-toxic, physical mode of action, and foliar feed for strong growth. I use this, as I mentioned, every time my app says that a plant needs fertilizer. I take it to the shower and spray it with this. Diluted, of course. I actually did not know it was a foliar feed as well, so that's a great thing. I don't think it could actually kill pests. Like if you find a pest on a plant and you use it every day or every 2 days or whatever, I don't think it would actually get rid of the pest. But I feel like after using this every time a plant needs fertilizer, I feel like I have not seen any pests on my plants whatsoever. This window here behind me is open during the summer because this house gets really hot and we do not really have air conditioning in Denmark. And in my garden, there are so many thrips everywhere, and they do get inside because I can see them on my curtains. They sit on my curtains, but if I find them on a plant, they're already dead. I feel like this works really well for preventing pests, as far as I know. I use it diluted in this electric sprayer because I did have a manual sprayer where you like had to pump it for each spray and my hand would just cramp up, and then I decided to invest in this electric sprayer, and it is just the cheapest one I could find at the garden center, and it's a Gloria original auto pump, and it's just a 1 liter sprayer, and you just screw this top off and there's batteries inside of it, and then it's just this button to spray. This electric sprayer has made my life so much easier. And that is all I have on my plant cart. This is my best investment of making plant care easier for me. I'm gonna put this back in its spot. It's just parked in the office. Welcome to the office. This is my plant shelf here in the office, and the bottom shelf here is all of my boyfriend's tools, and then the middle shelf is some plant supplies, and then the top shelf is our printer, and then a little secret here at the top for a future video. Well, actually, it's not really a secret. I made a propagation station during a progress video that I'm making for a future video. So yeah, I'm just not going to show you what is in the tray. This bin here is my soil bin. So I just have it in here like this, and I can just bring this out into the living room whenever I'm repotting or I need my soil mix. I only have one soil mix because I use this same soil mix for all of my plants. It's a pretty chunky mix, but not too chunky. So I feel like it works for all of my plants, honestly. I haven't met any issues with using the same soil mix for all of my plants. But if the day comes where I do get some issues by using the exact same soil mix for all of my plants, I am going to switch it up for that specific plant. But for now, I'm just using the exact same soil mix for all of my plants. And what I use for this soil mix, all of the materials that I use for making this soil mix are outside in the box out there. It's not that often I need to make a new batch, but I use a soil mix. It's a Danish brand, so you probably wouldn't be able to find it anywhere else. The same with the orchid bark that I'm using. And then I use perlite. That is also, I think, a Danish brand, or at least a European brand maybe. I actually don't know. And then I use activated charcoal or carbon from Botanica. But you could probably find some activated charcoal or carbon somewhere else. And then the actual mix ratio, I have no idea. I put the different elements into this bin when it's empty, and then I just eyeball it to see if I like the mixture. So this is the soil mix, and I don't know if you can like kind of tell what it looks like, but it is pretty chunky in there. I like a very chunky mix, honestly. If you watch my repot 10 plants with me, you would have seen the root rot that I got on some of the plants that I brought in, and they were in some very dense potting mixes, and I cannot figure out when to water plants in such dense potting mixes, so I like chunky mixes. Now the stuff that I have next to it is I have this plastic bag with a lot of 6 centimeter pots, so it's just these tiny ones, and I usually use them for babies or cuttings that I've rooted up and I'm selling or giving away. And then I have these plastic cups that I use for the top of my moss poles. And then I have another one of these pots with this little cute guy on a swing. And the reason why I have another one of these and I'm not using it is because when I bought my own that I have hanging in the window in the living room, my best friend was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Can you buy one for me?" And she lives in Germany, so I can't really see her physically every day. So I am just keeping it on this shelf until I go visit her. And then I have this random tray with spare parts for, I think it's for my grow lights in the living room, like on the plant shelf. If you want to hang them up and screw them into the furniture, I just use nano tape. I just keep the spare parts for if I'm ever gonna need them. And then up here I have my potting mat, and then this box is damp moss, and I use this brand here. I don't remember the brand, but I'm pretty sure you can get this worldwide. When you get it, it's just a little compact block that you just put in the bin, pour water over it, make sure there's enough water to soak all of the block so you can loosen it up, and then it's just ready to use. And it's so easy, and yeah, it's just very nice quality, so I'm definitely gonna keep using that. The last thing I'm gonna show in here is just the stack of nursery pots that I have. I have these black ones in a couple of different sizes. I usually use these black ones for plants that I'm selling or giving away because they are a lot cheaper than these ones. And these are the clear nursery pots that I'm using, and I order them from Smukhi because it is the only place that I can find them in Europe. I just have one of each size up to 23 centimeters, I think. Yeah. And that is a 9-inch. When I place an order, I kind of just walk around the house looking at the plants, seeing, oh, do you need a repot? yeah, you do. Okay, what size am I gonna give you? And then I order that size. And that is actually all I'm gonna show you in here. Okay, new setting. Oh, by the way, this is probably gonna be an update for the Alocasia longiloba purple. If you saw my repot 10 plants with me, this was one of the plants that we repotted. It's still drooping, but not as bad as initially. It has perked up a little bit, so I still have hope for this plant to still be alive, and hopefully it's going to give me some new leaves at some point. And when it does, I'm going to cut off the droopy leaves. So yeah, that's just a small little update on that one. But the thing we're here for is the plant supplies, and I have a couple of plant supplies here at the bottom of this shelf that I have, and I also have all of my spare cover pots sitting here on the bottom shelf. I'm not going to show you all of my different cover pots, but this box here, let me just take this off. Oops. So I have a couple of different things in here. Let's see, what are we gonna start with? I guess we can start with my moss poles. So my moss poles are just sitting in this bin, and these are the ones from Smukhi as well. Really happy with them so far. I haven't been using them for that long, but they are very nice and I very much enjoy using them. Then I have a bunch of clear plant stakes. These are just acrylic plant stakes that I use for my plants sometimes. Then I have this little container here with a little bit of Velcro tape in white. Then I have these pointy things for the end of the stakes. And then I have some butterfly clips also for when I stake my plants. And then I have some smaller clips in a dark green. Then I've got some things that I can use for my cabinet. I have some S-hooks in here. And I also have these clips from IKEA. It's the Scotties. They're really convenient in the plant cabinet because I have a grid on the back of my cabinet, and I can clip this to a nursery pot, stick it in the pot, and then it has this little hook here on the back that I could just hang on the grid, and that way I have a plant hanging on the grid. So I like to keep these on hand. Then I have extra bottles of my fertilizers right here. When the ones on my plant cart run out, I can switch to these. And then I also have extra squirt things for the bottles. These are included when you buy the liquid fertilizers from them, which is really nice. Then I have an extra pair of scissors, and then some plant tags and some markers in here to write on the plant tags. And then the last thing I have in here is something new that I have not tried yet. I just thought that I didn't really have a pest treatment. Like if I'm gonna get a pest at some point, I don't have anything to treat it immediately, then I would have to order it and wait for that to arrive, and then I could start treating it. So I just thought quite recently that I wanted to keep this on hand in case I ever get a pest. So this is just some Siltac SF. Yeah, it has pictures of some of the bugs that it treats, and it's just this box here with the treatment liquid in here, and then a little measuring spoon, and then it just has the instructions up here. But I haven't used it yet, so I don't know if it's good or anything. I just keep it on hand in case I ever get a pest. So that is living in here, and that was actually the last thing I have in this box. Can the trellis fit in here? It can. Okay, perfect. There we go. So that is all of my plant supplies here. Okay, next thing I'm going to show you is going to be the outside box that I have right outside on the terrace. And I'm not going to be talking out there. I'm just going to take some footage of it and probably make a voiceover. And then afterwards, I'm going to do the same thing with the shed. So for the outside storage box, excuse the mess. It is not organized at all, but I have some different gardening tools, including that knee pad I'm lifting up there. But then I also have the potting soil for my DIY soil mix. I have this bigger watering can for when I'm fertilizing my outside plants. Then this is the orchid bark. And then I have some seed starting soil mix. This is my activated charcoal and my carnivorous soil mix. And then I have this universal fertilizer for all of my outside plants and the bin with perlite. And lastly, I have this aquarium gravel that I use for the bottom of my pinguiculus. Then for the shed, a little bit more organized than the storage box, but up here I have some snail bait and these trays that I use when I go plant shopping. It's just a lot easier to transport the plants in the car. This shelf is just painting stuff. And then I have a bunch of nursery pots, both new and used. And then I have some weather stripping for the plant cabinet. And this bag is just a bunch of accessories for the plant cabinet and the screws that I took out when I made it into a greenhouse cabinet. And that is actually it for all of my plant stuff in the shed. I don't have a lot out here. Alright, so that's it for today's video. And again, this was a very chatty kind of video, but I hope you enjoyed either way. Hi, Yuki. I think Yuki want to say bye. Hej, lille skat. Er du træt I dag? Er du en lille træt hund? Alright, so Yuki and I want to say bye. And thank you guys so much for watching today's video. It was a very chatty video, but I hope you enjoyed either way. Oh, stort gæld. I'm getting very distracted here. Jamen, du så sød. And yeah, I just hope you will consider subscribing, maybe giving a like, and maybe comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts or whatever you want to write. Either way, I will just wish you an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!